We are back at ITB for day 3. It's the last day for me, but not the last day for the conference, for the event. I'm really excited to kick the day off with Cloudbeds because I have learned a lot about Cloudbeds today. So tell me a bit about Cloudbeds and what y'all do.
So we are a full stack system. What we mean by that is we decided to take all the core functionality for PMS, channel management, yield management, analytics, and combine it into a single user experience. And through that, we found that there's this really large opportunity within the independent space all around the world. And so we're out there powering over 20,000 properties in 135 countries now with a global staff. So for Cloudbeds, we're very much hospitality, and it's been really fun to walk and see how the industry's changed here at ITB.
Yeah, because that was actually going to be my next question. You led me right into it.
Perfect.
So you guys have hotels, hostels,
Yep.
rentals. You kind of have some old, some new. Well, I shouldn't say old, but traditional hotels and then
Absolutely.
new styles. How has it changed? How is it changing?
You definitely have a convergence when you look at what we as consumers are looking for. Everyone loves the majors, the regional players, the chains where you get your box and you know what to experience. And I think we're looking for a little bit of variety, right? And in the long tail part of the sector that we operate in, you have everything from hostels to botels to traditional hotels, as well as guest house, chalets, things like that. And I think a lot of what Airbnb announced 2 weeks ago with Brian's keynote was this experience-driven travel. And for Cloudbeds, we are so much part of long tail because it's the largest segment of the industry. We might not have the most revenues in terms of the number of bookings that are running through these properties, but there's definitely more of them. And there's 2, 3, 4 million of these small independents who are just as cool, just as fun, just as clean, just as safe to stay in. And so we wanted to empower them and really create better guest experiences through technology and bridging the gap for the guest.
So Airbnb, it was very interesting. From where I sit as a journalist, to me, for hotels, it's good. It's like a whole nother outlet of distribution that can put some pressure on other OTAs. So I see this as a good thing for hotels. What do you think?
The whole Airbnb, the whole convergence of OTAs, it's definitely gotten smaller, right? We're not seeing as many OTAs in terms of where the traffic is running through. Obviously, Google is a very big player as they convert, the hotel systems into just organic inside when you search. And I think the reality is we're going to use these different platforms differently depending on how or where you're trying to travel to. But there's no doubt Airbnb wants to be in the same conversation and sentences as Booking.com and Expedia and Ctrip, obviously, in Asia. So, for us, the opening of inventory type was just a natural evolution. Do I think they get into air maybe in the future, or train or rail or whatever? That's yet to be determined. But it's a fantastic vehicle, and if they couple that with experience, which I think they're doing better than any of the other OTAs right now, it's just going to give consumers more options.
And for the independent hotels and hostels, do you think they like this?
It's perfect. They're already seeing inventory being sold through those vehicles. So even though they're technically not supposed to be selling through Airbnb, and they're using Airbnb's listings as a vehicle, their B&Bs are selling all day long through those sources.
And they had been, like you said, and it just seems like now they just made it official. We welcome you.
That's right, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about channel optimization, because I always say, and I say this all the time, that it seems really challenging to be a hotel person of any kind. It's just so confusing and so much to do and kind of defeating, maybe. That's kind of, or maybe I shouldn't be a hotel person, I don't know. But let's talk about how you guys are helping that, but also some tips if I'm out there and I have an accommodation type. What would you recommend I do to manage these channels?
It's actually pretty simple when you think about it theoretically. You want to cast as wide a net as possible, right? So we have a channel manager. We connect to over 150 real-time channels, Airbnb, HomeAway, Expedia, Booking, all the usual folks. And so we're able to sort of create this wide footprint of different consumer types. So if I was a U.S. property, I would definitely be thinking about the Asian channels, right? Chinese travelers are going to be the largest population of travelers in the next 10 to years beyond. And so by casting that net, being able to accommodate that foreign visitor and putting your inventory in the e-commerce platform or point of sale that they're used to just makes logical sense to me, right? But it also, don't rely heavily on one source, or don't think about take rates as a problem, right? You obviously want to negotiate and you want to create the best distribution strategy for your property, but at the end of the day, it costs money to take a reservation on your website, and a lot of people think it's free. Your time's not free. So whatever you put invested in social media or digital marketing or your website, there's a cost there. And so what we always sort of do is challenge properties to do this cost of acquisition, to understand the true ROI of every single reservation that's coming in and think of it on a granular level. And the funny thing is oftentimes they like wake up and like, wow, I'm actually spending less money with Booking.com to acquire a customer than I am with, my own website. Who would have thought? And we actually have properties that are 100% dependent on the OTAs. And some of them are absolutely incredible. They're beautiful properties. They're 5-star. And what's amazing is when you talk to their GMs, they're like, look, I don't want to manage a phone number. I don't want to manage a website. I don't want to do social media. I just want to let them do it. They're really good at it. So if you're comfortable, everyone can make it work. And yet, if you're going to use channels to distribute, do more. The more you do, the more distribution outlets you're going to reach, and the more consumer audience.
Yeah, and if you're busy marketing, maybe you're not running your hotel correctly.
That's right.
If the guest experience is plummeting, who cares how much it costs to acquire a customer, because they're going to hate it.
Absolutely. And that was the original thesis. So we want to make the world a more welcome place. So that was one of our why statements that we really think about internally. But it came down to more reservations and happier guests, and they're aligned, right? So if we could take technology and empower you, the front desk person, to not look down all day long, but to be able to look up and to greet your guest and help them find a great restaurant or a tour or an activity, whatever. Every moment that we were able to do that meant that guest experience was possibly lifting or could go down. Right. We both experienced, the negative result of hospitality at behind the front desk or in a bar or whatnot. But when we were able to create those good moments, there's a likelihood of that person celebrating that either through social media, on TripAdvisor, on the review sites, or even in Facebook, right? And those positive examples can lead to more reservations. And with more reservations, then obviously you can reinvest in your property and repeat that whole cycle. So the whole taglines between more reservations and happier guests was really about that freeing up and trying to get back to the roots of hospitality. In these independent properties, it's 1 or 2 people sometimes operating them. And so any moment that they could spend away from marketing and getting back to 101 was a fantastic win for us.
And anytime I see where the hotel manager has their office in some terrible under the stair corner, I imagine not being in that little horrible office is probably really great. So maybe less time spent marketing also makes happier staff.
Yeah,
is that something you kind of hear too?
Absolutely. I mean, and we all sort of realize there's a lot of turnover in travel. There's also a lot of people in travel, and if you can think through that and reinvest in staff, I mean, that's one of our strengths. We are 178 people around the world. We invest in our people. We have this sort of simple formula. It's like our employees, our customers, our business. Our shareholders might not like that, but we invest in our people first, who invest in our customers, who in turn take care of our business. And training, reinforcement, culture. There's some incredible examples of these small properties that are welcoming people into their home or into that culture, and that's really about hospitality. And so we try to take that and reinvest in our own staff, and in turn, you can see them projecting it out to our customers, and that's when I think the magic happens. So you're right. I mean, anything you can do to try to create the better guest experience in a welcoming environment, it's a win-win for all parties involved.
It is a great place to end it. I like that message a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
This has been our first session of ITB Day 3. This is tnoozLIVE at ITB, and we're presented by Travelaer, so thank you to Travelaer. More where this came from very soon.